Hi YouTube, this is Tobal, and I am going to continue on with my Starsector Let's Play. Last time we met and were together, I had a little bit of a failure as an admiral. We had a couple ships get destroyed. They were some of the Remnant ships, I believe, kind of like some automated drones that just sucked our AI because I abandoned it in the combat. So we're down to back to being one ship. There's our starting ship. We were able to get out of that fight. Um, at the end of the last video, I did go ahead and join up with the Hegemony military. So I am basically commissioned by the Hegemony, and all that really means is I have the same relations that the Hegemony does at any given time. Sorry, I'm pressing buttons here, trying to get to factions. So it looks like the Hegemony is at war with the Persian League and Tritachyon, and of course the pirates. So the pirates in Letic Path are always basically negative. The Letic Path is like out crazy cultists or something of that nature. So they're always aggro, I think, to almost all the other factions. I've not even tried to sign up with Persian or Sindri and Diktat. Diktat. So this will change. So if all of a sudden Hegemony goes back to peace with Persian League, our faction relation will go back to 0. However, if we're flying around in space, that does mean we can get intercepted by those factions, so we got to be a little bit more careful when we're out and about. Unfortunately, since we are down to our one ship, we're a little bit limited in options on what we can do. Since I do have a couple of level up points here, I did want to go ahead and grab the navigation trait. I am kind of going for that 3rd level where it has the extra maximum burn just to get things moving a little bit faster. But really 25% fuel consumption less is what I wanted, and then I also want to eventually go over here to get both the 25% supply use reduction and then the 15% increase in combat readiness. Those are the stats I'm aiming for right off the bat. Very fleet centric, very, not centered around a single ship combat, but more so to support the rest of the fleet. So that's been done. Let's take a look at the missions and see what's going on in the world. See if there's anything that we can do as just one ship. It'd have to be either a close by endeavor. There's that distress call, I believe that was in last game that we didn't stop at. A couple medals, or a medal delivery. Survey of a world. We don't have anywhere near enough crew for this one right now, nor do we have the money for it. I can take another look at bounties. We originally were going for someone over here that had a very, I wouldn't say easy per se, but accessible, bounty. Don't think that our single wolf can take on 2 other wolves, a combat shuttle, and a strike destroyer. I believe we were going after Frederick Coldwind originally. Now all this started, we didn't even get to Frederick. We wound up getting I think either in his system, we were checking out Gamma Ohio to find which system he was in, and we encountered those remnants that just tore us apart. So, definitely too many for just one single ship to take on. Gosh, I think we're going to have to basically wait a little bit. I hate to do that. We do have enough money to get another ship right now. So let's see what we have for sale. Oh, we do have another wolf frigate, which I like. Hegemony markings, Hegemony markings. So basically the hull is the same. However, both of these ships are for sale from the Hegemony. We have enough relation for them. I really like the Wolf class frigates. They're not exceedingly powerful, but they're just so good at kind of hitting and running. You can kind of gang up on a larger ship than yours because the Wolf can jump in, poke that ship, jump out, and if the AI is smart enough, it would, it's able to kind of jump in there with you and take advantage of overwhelming numbers. I will go ahead. I think these are the exact same design, nothing different here. I'm going to buy one of these frigates. And I think what I'd like to do is wait for a payday, which we just got one, I think, from the Hegemony. Let's see if there's anything we can sell off the bat. We could sell all of our heavy machinery. We will have to get some later in case we want to do some surveying, and I hate to do that, but it wouldn't even give us, even with, let's see, the black market, would give us enough to buy the other ship, but we wouldn't have any weapons on it. So let's go ahead and I'll tell you what we can do. Let's go ahead and pick up the crew. We'll get our supplies, our fuel. We'll get the other ship all set, ready to go. Still have enough money to buy and refit it, so I'm going to press R to go over here to the refit. I will reassign if he lived, if she lived. Okay, good. Magali Hopkins to the other wolf, and we're going to level her up. She has a flux capacity, flux dissipation. Okay, so power grid is pretty strong for a single individual ship. I like that, and then I think damage control is also really good. 50% faster in combat weapon and engine repairs. I think I'd like to level up the power grid. Pretty strong. I'd like more flux dissipation, especially, and the percentage gain is really big later on when it comes to bigger ships and higher amounts of flux. So we'll level her up. She's now in the we'll call this, I think I was gonna do naming conventions from the Lost Fleet back in the day. This is one of my favorite book series for naval combat. So we of course are on the Courageous, even though it's not, or excuse me, the Dauntless, which is not quite matching with the type of ship it was in the books, but that's okay. She can be in charge of the Courageous. We'll use autofit here just because I don't think there's going to be a ton of things at this station other than mining items. Yeah. I'm not a fan of harpoons. What do we have? We have swarmers, I think. And she's got the harpoon on board. It added a lot of subsystems. It winds up filling when you do an autofit. It takes the best items that are at the station. If you have a lot of free space left over, it will put a lot of points into hull features and mods and then flux. And honestly, it's actually maxed out. We still have some space left. The harpoons are ones. I think I'd like to. Let's go ahead and replace these with a little bit better in terms of. Let's see, hardened subsystem blast or reinforced bulkheads. I think we can remove. Let's remove that. Let's give them. This is a 50 ammo. I think I'd like to do that. Let's do the Annihilator rocket launcher, because we both can be spamming rockets, and rockets can help to overwhelm shields. A lot of hitting with flux. This lets the AI just go crazy because it does have 50 ammo. There is a mod that actually increases the, if not recharging ability or reloading time, I think it increases the capacity of missiles. We have not found that hull mod yet though. Alright, so we've added those in. I think I'm going to go back to maxing out. I mean, really, if we look at our weapon groups, I don't think we're barely generating any flux. Right, so even if everything's firing at the same time, the most we do is about 140 flux per second. So we don't need a huge level of capacity or dissipation, although I don't really know what else we could add on here. The subsystems was one I took away. Let's go ahead and add on the auxiliary thrusters just to help with maneuvering. Oh wow, this prevents the use of active venting. That's crazy. I added in the auxiliary thrusters. I think we can go ahead and add back. I'll tell you what, we'll keep what we got and we'll put back the flux dissipation to max, because when you're getting hit with enemy shields or enemy weapons, you're also generating flux. So it's good to have high levels of dissipation. Alright, here we go in our little ragtag group. Because we did buy a new ship, it starts at 50% combat readiness. So we're going to go back into the main menu, repair our ships at the dockyard, and then we'll buy back the missing supplies from that, which apparently was just one. Alright, so what we're going to do here to kill a little bit of time until our next big payday from the hegemony is we are going to go look for some pirates and bandits in the friendly systems. Because I think we should be able to handle some bandit fleets, not a ton. Or we can jump into a middle of a combat and help out. I think this was okay. It looks like a 4-on-2 here. This is a 2 shuttles. We can definitely handle this, I believe. I'll even help them out a little bit. Hellbore frigate. That's one of the ones we may want to have knocked down quickly. Alternatively, if we take a really long time, it should run out of peak performance time. Basically, there's the peak performance is you have X amount of seconds of peak performance. So for our ships, it's 180. That means for 3 minutes, we can be in a combat and not have any degradation to our CR. Once it takes 3 minutes, you start to have degradation in your combat readiness, which then can start having your ship have malfunctions. It can literally blow up from lack of supplies. So this ship, because of all its problems, all the little orange pips here, starts with only a minute of peak performance. So if this ship winds up being a problem, we can just kite it around until it starts suffering from CR. And the rest of these should not be a problem. So we'll go ahead and move into engage. Deploy everybody. And I think I'm going to have our ship escort us, our ally escort us. I'm going to stay a little bit on the fringe because I do like to... Ouch. Try to take out enemies when they're by themselves here. So we're generating some flux, but they've got way more. They're going to have to take their shields down. Once their shields are down, the missiles are out. Okay, that's one ship down. Our ally here is holding off a... I think this was the ship I was mentioning, but it doesn't look like it has any shields. So hopefully... I can keep my mouse on point here. Alright, our ally is a little bit down, so I'm going to go help them out. Jump in here. A little pressure on the enemy. Oh, we got really lucky there because their shields were down because of flux overheating. Or overload, so we vented out. Jump back in. I think this is the last enemy, or there is a number over there on the right side, so maybe there's some more folks. Those could also just be hulls off in the corner there. I think they are. Right. Good day, sir. Oh, not too bad. We did take a little bit of damage, but we should be able to repair that no problem with the supplies we have. Ship recovery. We don't want any of these shuttles because there's just so much damage on them. I really think it winds up being profitable. Pirates don't like us. But anything we lose in supplies, we've already gained back. Wish we could take more of this, but we are full on cargo. Now we can take more cargo than we need, but it basically is tantamount to, I think, dragging the cargo behind your ship, so it greatly reduces your effectiveness. And really, this isn't worth going to too much trouble over. So we made a little bit of money. Now, because we also have the hegemony commission, we make extra money per faction. 1,200 credits per enemy frigate destroyed. So on our payday, we will get a little bit more money. And this is a pirate planet or colony. Not a whole lot we can do here. We could try to like raid it or bombard it, but we are not going to do that. If you do an orbital bombardment, destabilizes the colony, disrupt the military targets for a year. I mean, it costs a lot of fuel, but there's no real benefit for us. We also can saturation bomb, which apparently pisses some folks off. So some fucks off, yeah, too. So we don't want to do anything aggressive other than just shake our fist and move on. I don't think I mentioned it either, but when you are flying around in unique environmental areas, you'll see right here a message about what that area is. So that was it'll tell you kind of what the terrain is like. So sometimes if you're in around a planet with like a magnetosphere here, that will show you that there's some interference with your sensors. We are currently in Nemo's belt. which is a chance of asteroid impacts. Smaller fleets can avoid them. It reduces the range at which stationary fleets inside it can be detected. So it does help a little bit with detection if you're trying to hide. And hitting those asteroids, I believe, does a little tiny bit of damage. We'll take our point here and finish out the navigation. So now we have extra maximum burn, and also from our sustained burn, increases the speed. An ability called transverse jump, which basically lets you jump into hyperspace from anywhere in the system. So right now, even though we are not at the traditional exit, we could, actually there's an exit way up here too, we could just go into hyperspace right there. So very useful if you are trying to avoid enemy fleets, if you're in the middle of combat, if you just need to get out of a system quickly. Very useful indeed. Let's take a look at what the hegemony is offering us. Personal bounties. This is a flat commission, so this is always in effect. And I don't see any other... I've seen the pirate-based mission before. I don't know, I'm guessing, yeah, it does want you to destroy it. I don't know how hard these bases are. I don't think we're going to actively attack this base, but I'm kind of curious to see if we could find it. And that way, if we scout it out, we know about it for later on. This is a pirate fleet, it looks like, and it's a combat freighter. Kind of the same thing we just encountered. We'll go ahead and stop, or just let them hit us, because I think we can easily take these folks out too. I accidentally hit the transfer command button, but what that lets you do is transfer to a different ship to control it during the mission, or during the combat. We'll do the same thing again. Our ally will escort us. We'll kind of lean off to one side here. Change our weapon to number 2 for the missiles. Target that ship, shields up. This must be a ship that doesn't have shields built into it. So we are just going to slam on the missiles, slam on the damage, knock them out real quick, and vent. I find that if you're really fast, you normally can get at least one ship down at the start of most combats to give yourself a little bit of an advantage. Immediately vent because we were very close to hitting our flux limit there. This is also an interesting time to look at these full assault and full retreat buttons. Full assault basically tells everyone, no matter who they are, to attack the enemy. This is a very aggressive order because you can't stop it. It basically lasts until the end of the match. Just like full retreat, ooh, hurt a little bit. Full retreat lets you have all your ships run away no matter what's going on. I'm gonna back off here because I've got some high flux. We did do a little, but we didn't actually breach his flux or breach his hull yet. Our ally is doing just fine attacking this ship. We'll help out with some missiles. Not every ship has shields. That's another thing too. Some of the combat freighters or the converted ones don't come with shields, so that's why that guy there was just sitting with no shields to defend him. And this should about do it. We'll go ahead and skip recovery. I don't think we have a whole lot we can grab other than a little bit of fuel. Picked up some harpoon missiles. I guess that must be when we were transitioning, turning things off the other ship. Pulling items off the other ship. Alright, so we are here. Let's see, so there's pirate activity in Atslan. Also, I mentioned this in a previous video, but coming into the corona of a star is dangerous just because you wind up getting the corona effect, which does reduce combat readiness of all ships. So if you do come in at a planet, you definitely want to kind of burn away from it pretty quick. I got to be really careful about coming into a place with a black hole that will put you right in the middle of the black hole, and you can't escape the zone of influence. I can't remember what the term is right now. And so we are in the Aztlan system. There is kind of an event that's happening that reduces the stability because it looks like Ishtan Fort in the beta. Okay, so this is a different. They're based out of somewhere else. This might be the equivalent of a pirate raid because they can raid your colony as well. We have a mission about Ludic cells. I've never figured out. Oh, this must just be an effect. If the base is destroyed, what's the time? You did not know the location of the Panther base. Pather base. I don't know if this is like a separate entity that we could just find. Not sure. So we'll go ahead and explore this system just a bit. What I'd like to do is maybe uncover the enemy pirate base, because that would just be useful to have that information for later on. Do an active scan, pulled up something over this way that was not hegemony. There's a heavy mercantile fleet. Look at that size of that fleet. They've got a large freighter as the first item. I don't know what those two do. I know the thing that looks like a split wishbone there, that is a destroyer that I'm a huge fan of. A freighter. I don't know what these two big ones are. That might be a big destroyer or something of that nature. Alright, so we're going to head over into this way, part of the system. We also have a character point we can use. So I'd like to start bumping up leadership in order to take advantage of fleet logistics to reduce our supply use down the road. And it really is probably too early to worry about supply usage, but it's one of those things that I like to have in place before I build a fleet up. No idea what we're going to find out here looking for these pirates, and I assume the pirates have to be almost outside the belt to avoid traffic. Let's take a look at that mission again. It was hegemony. I think it was a pirate bounty or base bounty. Pirate base. Oh, you know what? I misread that. I'm at the wrong system. I'm at the system that they're attacking into. Okay, that's what it was. That's part of why pirate activity is active. They are based out of Ishtan Fort in the Beta Maculata, and if we go over to that pirate base, it's in the Beta Maculata constellation. So we'd have to find out where they're at inside. Well, actually, you're here, but we do have just enough fuel to get in there. Let's go ahead and do that then. I'm sure that couldn't result in horrible death at all for us. And while I'm flying over to a point, what we actually will do, we'll stop here at Coatl, is it? Sounds right, Coatl. And I will put a quick cut in here. It has been a little bit of time, so I'm going to put a quick cut, and we'll continue right along with trying to hunt down some bandits.